Hi, this is Regina McCann-Hess, President of Forge Wealth Management, and welcome to our Women in Wealth series. This week we're taking a pivot to the educational side, just trying to help answer some questions and be your guide for some of the topics that you may have on your mind. So we'll occasionally add some of the educational part to our Women in Wealth series. But during that, we'd love to include you on some of our topics. So if you think of a topic or a question that you'd like us to discuss, please don't be shy. Share it with us. My email is reginahess@forgewealth.com. I welcome your questions. I welcome your suggestions for topics. And hopefully it can help guide other people as well. Today, we're going to talk about organizing your financial records. Yeah, you know what? There's plenty of people out there. You know, you have people who are pack rats. You have people who purge everything right away. And then you have a lot of people in the middle. You know, sometimes you have things that just never make it into the house, or you can have things that just pile up until you're ready to deal with them. So we're going to talk about some of the ways to handle that, some of the ways to organize it. Taking the steps necessary to get your financial records under control, because that has a lot of rewards. And first and foremost, that you're not sitting there looking at a pile of mail that you have to deal with. So the keys to success here are having an organized approach to your financial records that can remove much of the stress associated with living in an increasingly complicated world. As children, as parents, as spouses, partners, investors, citizens, and employees, we all play many roles, and each of those roles ends with a trail of paper attached. So we're going to try to use this chat to help you organize your records by just touching on a few key topics, like what records should I keep? How long should I keep them? How should you keep them organized? And then also, how can you make sure that someone has access to your records in case of emergency? That's really important. So let's cover what to keep. Knowing what records to keep can be as simple as knowing why you need them. You know, there are many reasons to keep your financial records, in addition to keeping track of papers associated with the day-to-day consumer activities, such as making purchases or paying down your debt. You probably have papers and documents that will need, you'll need them in a case of emergency or a death in the family or some other unforeseen turn of events. And that's why many experts suggest that you separate your papers by your need to use them. Keep your short-term items together and your long-term items together. You know, your short-term files would include items from the past year, like your unpaid bills, your paid bills, your bank statements, any canceled checks if you still receive them, credit card statements, health records, updated resume or updated employment records. How about income tax receipts for deductions and income, things like that. Any major purchase receipts and any insurance policies. So those are the short-term files that you have there. Your longer-term files should include things like your bank statements for the past 7 years, right? We mentioned bank statements in the short term, but they can also be looked at as long-term files as well. Credit card statements, like with anything that has a home improvement expense, so that you can use that later down the line. Canceled checks, sometimes you keep them for past 7 years, especially if there's a significant check that you want to make sure that you keep a hold of. Receipts for home improvement, they come into play when you sell your house. Warranties and operating instructions for appliances. Now, sometimes the operating instructions, you can find that online, but the warranties you may want to have a copy of. Income tax records and backup for the previous 3 years. How about gift tax returns? Those are important as well. Inheritance papers are also very important. Some other items for your long-term file are retirement investment statements, legal papers about formerly owned properties, reports from trusts, birth certificates, social security cards, a burial vault or plot deeds, your wills, your living wills, your healthcare durable power of attorney, and your other power of attorney. Car titles and house titles and any other deeds will definitely make that list as well. In addition to some of your investment account statements, sometimes you can just do there your year-end statement because that may have everything that you need there, and especially if there's a tax statement for those accounts, that helps as well. If you have a pension plan statement, that's important. Annuity statements, mutual fund statements, and stocks and bonds. And obviously, any kind of life insurance paperwork that you want to hold on to as well. Now, what about taxes? There's basically two types of tax information you need to be concerned about. Information you need in case of an audit, and information you need to support your claims of income. So you have backup for those returns. False or fraudulent returns, they can be pursued forever. But as far as auditing, the IRS is only going to audit you for up to about 3 years from the date you file your return. And they can also pursue you for underreported income for up to 6 years. So just keep that in mind as well. So keeping tax returns and supporting documents for 7 years is a reasonable approach to keeping your tax documentation. Here's the exception because many of your important files will double as a backup for taxes. If your tax information or your tax return contains information about a home purchase or a home sale, you may want to keep that particular tax return just to have it for when, if you sell or buy the next property, so you can prove whatever you need to prove. A rule for keeping your documents, all right? So we're going to switch here. We're going to talk about 3, 7, and forever piles. Presuming that you clean out your immediate and long-term files annually, here are some general guidelines for how long you should keep your documents. And doing that annual cleanup really kind of helps you thin things out and prevents you from keeping things that you don't really need to keep any longer. But your short-term and long-term files should be cleaned out probably at least once a year, with your files either destroyed, like shredder destroyed, or placed, if it's short-term file becomes a long-term file, then you just move it from one file to the other. But definitely shred anything that you're getting rid of, anything that has a social security number, a birth date, and an account number. You want to shred all of that information. So the things you may keep for 3 years, some kind of household bills, credit card statements, and receipts for minor purchases. The things that you'll keep for 7 years will be your canceled checks, your check registers, your bank statements, your pay stubs. Now, usually the best pay stub, you don't have to keep every single pay stub, but the one that's at the end of the year, that's a really good pay stub. And also the tax form that you get from your employer, that's another way to save it as well. Obviously, you're going to keep your tax returns also for 7 years, and any supporting documentation, anything that you use to file your tax return, you definitely want to keep that in your 7-year file as well. So now you have the keep forever file, or until the asset is sold. So you want receipts for your home improvements, receipts for major purchases, annual investment statements. The year-end one is perfect. Gift tax returns, inheritance papers, insurance policies. They're very important to have on hand. IRA statements, mutual fund statements, a copy of your will, healthcare proxy forms. Very, very important. Where are you going to keep everything? Whether, you can do it in a file cabinet, you can do it in a box, a shopping bag, whatever works for you, but is helpful to separate them from other folders, in your house. But you may also want to add tabs to them so you know which one is the file that you're looking for, and it's easier to go in and grab it that way. While you can only decide the filing system that works best for you, just remember, keep it simple. Use generic and commonplace terms. clean out your files once a year. It really is beneficial to do that. Keep the most recent files accessible where you can get to them pretty easily. And then just keep all those files in one place so that if you're using a short-term or long-term system for your files, you may want to keep a to be filed area in your house and then jot the word short or long at the top of each paper, so that it's just easier when you're going through it to put it in the file. Again, during the annual cleanup, certain short-term files will become long-term files, and then other ones you don't need to keep anymore, so you shred them. Now, not everybody is a paper user. Some people have converted to computers. So just remember to check your computer files, just make sure it's a critical source of information. So make sure that someone has access to these records. It's important that you back up the computer files and keep that backup data in a safe place, and can keep your computer passwords with your other important information. Now, only you know the best way to keep your records, but experts agree that there are certain rules. Make your system easy to use and easy to change. If you keep files this way, you'll have the added benefit of having a system that's easy for someone else to understand if they have to come in behind you and look for information. There's another option. You can keep a safe deposit box. That can be a secure place to keep certain valuables and important papers, but some important items may not need to be placed in a safety deposit box. So let's talk about the things to put in the safety deposit box first. Stock certificates, if anyone still has them, coins, stamps, and other collectibles, auto titles, mortgages, deeds, things like that, original copies of birth certificates, marriage certificates, and death certificates. Important to keep those in a safe place. Adoption papers, divorce or child custody papers, also very important. And then, this is not something people think a lot about, but videos or photos of contents of your home for insurance. If there's damage to your home and you go to claim for your insurance, if you have photos or a video of your house walking through, cataloging everything that's in your house, that can be used to help you with your claim for your insurance. So that's a good thing to put in the safe deposit box. So here are the things that you don't want to put in the safe deposit box. Original copies of wills. They might want to be, with your attorney, and copies somewhere easily accessible. Power of attorneys, not good in a safe deposit box. Insurance policies, not good in an not good in a safe deposit box. And then anything that you might need or your family might need in the event of death. Because in the event of death, the safe deposit boxes might be sealed. And even if you have somebody else who has a key, they may not be allowed to access that box until paperwork is processed and a lot of other hoops, or you have to jump through a bunch of hoops. So we definitely don't want you to keep certain records there because you may need them pretty quickly in the event of death. So we're trying to be careful about what we put in the safe deposit box. Here's another thing that people don't really think about, but providing a key or a letter of instructions, because chances are a relative, a neighbor, somebody that's close to you has a key that would let your family into your home should, a serious event, a fire, a water main break, a health emergency, anything occur. But leaving a key with somebody makes good sense. Likewise, you should create a key to your important financial records and make sure someone you trust has possession of it. Like maybe even, making a simple list of where your important papers are, where your files are, and, who to call for more information about them. It can be as easy as, hey, 3 columns, items, where to find them, who to contact. Your will, where to, is one item. Where to find it, in a fire box in the basement, who to contact, my attorney, birth certificates in the safe deposit box, who to contact, my attorney, a healthcare proxy, that might be in your safe deposit box too, but you know who to contact, your doctor, because your doctor usually will have a healthcare proxy on file if you've given them a copy of it. But basically make sure somebody knows where your documents are in case they need to access them and to help you during a situation. Besides leaving this key in your house with your financial files, just make sure at least one person you know that you trust knows where it is. Even if you make a file called, in case of emergency, or a financial key in your financial files, that could be helpful to someone charged with piecing together, everything that you need help with. Regardless of how organized you are, if your papers can't be found, they will not be useful to someone trying to help you in a crisis or an emergency. So whether or not it's a spreadsheet or a list, have a financial key in the hands of someone who can access to your, financial records and be extremely helpful during that time. And then one last thought. While you're organizing all your financial records, it's not as simple as, when in doubt, throw it out type of thing. Common sense also does play a big key. When you're thinking about filing a document, ask yourself, have you needed that type of information before? And why did you need it? Why are you keeping it? If you can't think of a reason why you've needed that, or didn't need it in the past year or so, then your chances are you're probably not going to want to keep it. But those are basically some of the ways you can organize, ways you can do something to help the next person help you. Looking at those short-term and long-term files, keeping yourself ahead of everything, and again, monitoring that, looking at that once a year, going through those files once a year, and shredding the things that you no longer need. And with that, I want to thank you for joining us on our Women in Wealth series. We are grateful that you are with us, and we look forward to seeing you the next time. Again, Regina McCann-Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management. My website is forgewealth.com, and you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Forge Wealth, and then on LinkedIn as Regina McCann-Hess. Thanks, and have a great day.